Recording. And whenever you're ready.
Here we go, everybody. This is a novel situation where I'm both hosting and participating as a presenter. Although I have to admit that Marilyn, whom I asked to do this with me, put together the majority of this presentation, has a better camera and better journaling habits. She always prepares a book for her family and friends after each trip, which is a true gift. And I added some slides and additional content. Marilyn's a dear friend of mine, by the way. She lives two houses down. And she came to Humboldt County in 1959 with her husband Roy when he accepted a job at Humboldt State as a mathematics professor. When their two children were well along in school, she began teaching at Morris School in McKinleyville. After 18 years as an elementary teacher, she retired and worked another 9 years for the HSU Humboldt State Education Department, supervising student teachers, and for 5 years of that, co-teaching the math methods class for teachers. Since retirement, she's now 94. She's been volunteering with Friends of the Redwood Libraries and producing the annual children's calendar and spending time with Delta Kappa Gamma, an international organization for educators. She loves to travel and has been to all 7 continents and about 54 countries. With her adventurous spirit, when I suggested going to Costa Rica, where she'd already been years ago, she was ready to go and off we went. So I am so happy she agreed to do this. And I think you're going to truly enjoy adventuring with us. Marilyn, now it's your turn. Oh, and by the way, um, if you have questions, we're just going to kind of barrel on through. If you have questions, please put them in the chat and we will address them at the end. Thank you. Unless it's critical. Okay. Marilyn, it's all yours.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Thanks for coming. So, thank you, Jane. Jane has been a social science researcher, analyst, and program developer for over 45 years. In recent years, she's focused on developments in brain research and integrated medicine, economic and community development, and lifestyle changes in response to climate change. She's a former member of the Arcata Economic Development Committee, the OLLI Curriculum Committee, and formerly a transition and also formerly transition Humboldt. She has developed and presented OLLI courses on creative living, consciousness and exploration, conscious living, and advocacy, and coordinates the OLLI Brown Bag Lunch program. Jane is a good friend, a great traveling companion, and an excellent bridge and rummy cube player. And she also has an adorable little dog, Andy, who comes over for treats every day. Thank you. So, as you heard, Jane and I took a trip to Costa Rica last January, and we'd like to share some of our impressions with you. I realize in 14 days you don't learn everything about a country, but we saw quite a bit. We went with overseas adventure travel, a group some of you may know. I've been on 12 trips with them and have enjoyed them all. I usually choose OIT because the guides are almost always natives of that country being visited. They're well versed in the history, geography, culture, and speak both English and the language or languages of that country. Our guide, Andres, and our bus driver, Juan Carlos, were unbelievable. They were amazing. Besides being a professional wildlife photographer, Andres was so kind and helpful, and Juan Carlos was so nice and protective. He was constantly watching to make sure we were safe. At 90, I was just 93 then, but he just made sure that we didn't hurt ourselves. And if we couldn't hike as far as they were going, they would show us a shorter route where we would see pretty much everything, but not go quite as far. They were wonderful. Okay. let's go to the map, Jane, or the title of the
Okay, I
map.
have to admit, I don't have great control over this. I'm going from side to side, but on the other hand, I'm not sharing the way I normally do. So here you
Jane,
go. Get to see them all. Hmm?
Jane, we're not seeing your slides yet.
You aren't?
No.
No, let's go to the slides.
Well, wait a minute. I have to go back to share.
Yeah, in the Zoom call.
Hold on. Okay. Share. You'd think I'd know how to do this by now, wouldn't you?
It's easy to forget how to do.
Or I never knew. Um, all right, now what's wrong?
Did you go to Zoom first? Oh, there you go.
Okay.
All
There we
right.
go. So we see your screen if you just pull up the slideshow. It should. There we
There
go. We
you
see the
go.
slideshow.
Go to slideshow now.
Okay, kiddo, where is it? Slideshow.
Yep,
Yeah,
you're
good.
there.
Then go to the beginning.
There we go.
There we are.
And you can see it now.
Now let's go back. Yeah.
Hallelujah.
So that's the beginning. So let's go to the map.
All right, there we go.
The blue lines on the map show where we went in Costa Rica. We started in the capital, San Jose, which is in the Central Valley. Went to the mountainous cloud forest, the Central Pacific highlands, then across to Tortuguero on the Caribbean side. And then we can go to the next one. Yeah, this kind of shows the whole area. As you know, Costa Rica is a small country in Central America. It's bordered on the north by Nicaragua, the south by Panama, the west by the Pacific Ocean, and the east by the Caribbean Sea. It was recently ranked as the fourth happiest country in the world, and you'll soon see why. Now, Costa Rica was conquered by Spain when Columbus came in 1502. There were at least 8 groups of indigenous people who'd been living there for thousands of years, but they were living separately with different languages and customs, so we're not in a position to organize and fight back. Not too different from our country, was it, in some ways? Spanish people settled near the coast, but many died of starvation. And later, when Coronado came in 1562, the capital was founded in Cartago in the Central Valley. They did well because the Central Valley has a healthier climate and good volcanic soil for raising crops. So about 86% of the 5,100,000 people live in the Central Valley even today. Costa Rica, like all the countries conquered by Spain, had slaves. They were brought from Africa. At first, they worked in the homes, and settlers often freed them because they couldn't afford to keep them. Later, when cacao became an important commodity, they worked in the fields. Costa Rica became independent from Spain in 1821, and shortly afterwards, in 1824, they abolished slavery. In the later 1800s, ex-slaves were brought from Jamaica, you see that out in the Caribbean, and other Caribbean islands to work on the railroad and plantations and cacao. Most descendants of these groups live in the Limon province on the Caribbean coast, or San Jose, the Guanacaste. Sadly, many of them are living in poverty today. Let's go to the next one.
Marilyn, could you turn up your volume a little bit?
I'll try to speak up.
That would
San
help.
Jose, can you hear better?
Yes, much better.
San Jose is the capital and main city in Costa Rica. The urban area has a population of more than 2 million people, almost half of the total population of Costa Rica. I think we're a little, look, could we both go back one? There. The monument is Costa Rica's national monument. The statue of the man is Don Pepe Figueres Ferrer, the founder of the National Liberation Party. He was very important in the beginning. He was president of Costa Rica from 1953 to 1958, and again from 1970 to 1978. He was largely responsible for abolishing the military in Costa Rica. He helped the middle class to grow and instituted many reforms in the country. And Costa Rica still does not have an army or navy, no military for Costa Rica. Okay, now next. Coffee was brought to Costa Rica from Cuba in 1779. They learned that the trees go well there, especially at an altitude of 3,000 to 4,000 feet. There are several varieties of trees, and the flavors differ. Costa Rican coffee actually has less caffeine than most other coffees, about 1%, depending on the type of beans, but we tasted it. It really is good coffee. Okay. Many farms are owned and cared for by individual families. This lady has a small farm where she grows organic pineapples, bananas, black and white pepper, and others. One thing about pineapples is that most people or companies who grow them use lots of pesticides. Thus, the organically grown pineapples are preferred by many. This was an area that was only settled about 30 years ago. Families were given land as long as they agreed to build a house and live there. People are close to their neighbors and tend to help each other. Children usually stay in the area when they grow up, so the area is very family oriented. They often build on land owned by their family, increasing family cohesion. Next, yeah, there we are. Isn't that a great sloth? Costa Rica has a rich diversity of plants and animals. Counting all birds and mammals for every 10,000 square kilometers is the most diverse in the world, with 615 species for every 10,000 square kilometers. This has made it an important country for ecotourism. Most people visit because it's beautiful, safe, and has so many plants and animals. And of course, they like the beaches too, but the animals are wonderful. The sloths are amazing. This one is a three-toed sloth, and the green lizard is a basilisk. They can actually run on top of water. The story told to us is that some 50 or so years ago, a U.S. biologist visited Costa Rica and recommended that the country set up preserves to add value to its economy through ecotourism. For years, he also brought students to the country to study and document its ecological features. Until that time, the country's economy was dependent mainly on the export of bananas, pineapples, and coffee. The country's political leaders followed the advice and began preserving many of the areas that are now popular tourism sites. Now the top sources of revenue are pharmaceuticals and ecotourism. Many of the preserves are funded and operated by public and or private groups. There are also lots of iguanas. Some, I love the iguanas. You see them in the trees, in the forests, everywhere. And
They're a
sometimes,
wonderful color. The
yes, I
yellow
do.
stands out.
Yes. And you can spot a caiman in the water sometimes. They're a lot like, they're related to alligators, but they are smaller. Then we were excited to see an anteater. I'd never seen one before. Had you, Jane?
No, and in a tree. I thought they were, I'd always seen pictures and movies of them on the ground. So it's like,
Yeah, I
what's it
didn't
doing in a
know.
tree?
Yeah, I didn't know some of them climb trees either. This is a northern tamandua, which spends almost half its time up in trees. They eat up to 9,000 ants and termites every day. Their eyesight is bad, but they have a powerful sense of smell. So they're really very helpful creatures. There are four types of monkeys in Costa Rica. There's a white-faced capuchin on the left, and then a couple of spider monkeys. Well, it's actually one spider monkey, just two pictures. He's she's helping her baby out of the tree. And then
That was
pretty much,
fascinating to watch, by the way. You know, she had jumped down on the roof, and of course, the baby was still back there, and it's like, oh dear. And then she went back and got it. Marilyn
yeah,
got some
put it
pictures
on her
of it.
back and took it away.
Yeah,
They're
that's so
really
cute.
sweet. And then we did see numerous monkeys in the trees behind our hotels. There are a lot of places. I was sorry we didn't see squirrel monkeys. They are adorable, but we did see these. The Tarcolis River is an excellent place to see crocodiles. They can live in and around either fresh water or salt water. It doesn't seem to matter to them. The American crocodile can grow up to 16 feet long. We saw lots of them. We were in a boat, which was good, in the Sarcellus River. Many of them have been given names by the locals. A really large one is called Tyson, and one that's hard to find is called Bin Laden, but it's fun to see them. The white-nosed coati, also known as coatimundi, is a mammal in the raccoon family, and he does look a little like it, doesn't he? They eat fruit, insects, and small rodents. They're also good pollinators, especially when they put their noses into flowers of the balsa tree and spread the pollen. On the right, that's an agouti. It's a large rodent. They're kind of cute. But its big thing, he can crack Brazil nuts. They're really hard. They often forget where they bury the Brazil nuts, so new trees will appear. Sometimes we can spot turtles in the rivers. And they're also interesting lizards, like this green lizard. There are 130 snake species in Costa Rica, and about a quarter of them are venomous. So you do want to kind of watch out for them. I'm not sure what the blue one is. It was seen by a member of our group on a night walk. The green one, I tried to look it up. It could be a side-striped palm viper, or it might be a green vine snake. It looks like that, doesn't it? The other one, I really know. It's a fer-de-lance, one of the most dangerous snakes anywhere. We saw this one several feet below us when we were in Manuel Antonio National Park. I actually saw one when I was in Costa Rica almost 25 years ago.
They look dangerous. They kind of look like a bit like a rattlesnake, but they're big.
Yeah,
He was
yeah,
all wrapped up and only about 5 feet away or so.
yeah, they're actually more dangerous than a rattlesnake.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're very bad. We went to a place where bats are being studied. we learned that there are 117 different species of bats in Costa Rica, big ones and little tiny ones, as you can see on the right. Those that eat insects help keep insect pests in check. Bats help scatter seeds throughout the forest, and those that subsist on pollen and nectar are responsible for pollinating hundreds of species of plants. So bats are really valuable. There are even vampire bats in Costa Rica. They almost never bother humans, so they don't worry about them. But they do get blood from cattle or other warm-blooded mammals. That doesn't really harm those animals, though. One interesting thing I found out is that if a vampire bat has a bad night, doesn't get his blood, another vampire will give it some of his blood that it collected, and actually save its life. They take care of each other. Even bats can be helpful. We also enjoyed visiting a butterfly garden with owl butterflies. The zebra longwing, that's the one down at the bottom on the left, is the zebra longwing, and monarchs that we know. And there are lots of others. In fact, there are between 1,200 and 15 species of daytime butterflies in Costa Rica, and over 12,000 species of moths. Costa Rica is home to an amazing number of birds. They're so beautiful. There are approximately 950 recorded species. Here we have on the left one of the most beautiful, the scarlet macaw. The next one is called a red-legged honey creeper, so pretty and blue. The yellow bird and the black one that you see together are actually both Passerini's tanagers. The yellow one's a female. It's hard to believe they're the same species. Below that is a golden hooded tanager, and then we have an Amazon kingfisher. Some other birds, that's the orange-chinned parakeet, a black vulture, and a common black hawk you see quite often. And here's a few more. The small blue heron. There is also a great blue heron, but I don't have a picture here. Below that is a tiger heron, and anhinga. We saw lots of those. They're really pretty. They dry their wings like that all the time. And then we have a stilt, walks around in the water. When we were in a boat on the water, we sometimes saw magnificent frigate birds flying overhead. And occasionally up in a tree would be a large toucan. There are actually 6 species of toucans in Costa Rica. This one is called a yellow-throated toucan. One of the most beautiful birds anywhere in the world is the resplendent quetzal. They live at very high altitudes. We went to a farm at about 8,000 feet in altitude where the farmer had planted trees that bear the quetzal's favorite food, the little tiny avocados. We waited and we're very lucky to see several of those gorgeous birds. It's the national bird of Guatemala. The farmer convinced neighbors to also plant the same variety of avocado trees since they only bear fruit every other year, and they want to get the quetzals to come. Here we have a night heron and 2 jacanas.
They're fun. We saw them flying off, and you try to capture them when they're doing that because
And Jane captured the ones taking off. Thank you,
I
Jane.
actually got one.
Good job.
I mean, I think we each have maybe 1,000 or so pictures, and every day we'd take a whole bunch, and then we'd have to go through and get rid of most of them. It's like
You're lucky people,
I
you're
haven't
not
done
going
that
to
work
see
yet.
all 1,000, 2,000 pictures.
Yeah, I haven't counted. I'm afraid to.
Right. We saw so many beautiful hummingbirds. They seem to be enjoyed by Costa Ricans as well because we also saw lots of hummingbird feeders. There are at least 52 species of hummingbirds in the country. Many restaurants place feeders outside their open air restaurants to attack birds so visitors can see them while they're having their dinner or
Of
lunch.
course, that also attracts visitors to their restaurant.
Well, that's true. It
So
attracts
they can
birds
watch
and
the
people.
birds. They put
That's
out bananas, they put out all kinds of stuff to attract them. And so it does work. People do go
that's
and
right.
watch and eat.
The hummingbirds, some of them are so shiny, they almost sparkle. The Monteverde Cloud Forest Biological Preserve is especially important because thousands of acres of watershed property and rainforest have been saved, mostly by private groups and organizations. The area is beautiful for hiking. We hiked a couple of miles and also have educational programs. So much of the world's rainforest in South America, Central America, and throughout the world have been destroyed, and we really need them. So we hope this project continues, and I think it will. The altitude of this preserve is around 4,000 to 5,000 feet. So it's usually kind of wet and cool, even in the dry season, which is from December to April.
We actually lucked out because it didn't rain on us hardly at all. I mean, it was very lovely. A little
Yeah,
bit cloudy, but we didn't get soaked. So it was great. We went in January, mid-January.
yeah, January is supposed to be the dry season, and it was pretty good. It was pretty good. The Mystico Arenal Hanging Bridges Park features a 2-mile trail with 6 suspension bridges high in the rainforest canopy. You actually look down in the rainforest. On a clear day, it's possible to see the Arenal volcano from one of the bridges. The bridges are long. The longest is 318 feet. And as Jane said, they do sway as you walk along them, but it's a beautiful walk. Unfortunately, we didn't take all of the walks, but we saw quite a bit. This kind of shows where the different bridges, the map. There are actually, in this small country, there are 29 national parks in Costa Rica. One of the most popular is the Manuel Antonio National Park. You walk along the build-up pathway. They built those up because the underbrush is, let's go back to the national park,
Thick, you
Jane.
can't get through it.
There we go. They build up that pathway because the underbrush is so thick, it is hard to walk through it. And you can see animals along the way, such as that colorful crab, the dangerous fer-de-lance, and of course, iguanas, all kinds of iguanas. And then you finally reach the beach, and it's so pretty. And there are monkeys there as well.
We were happy to see the sailboat.
Yeah, yeah, I captured it, but through the tree there, I kind of like that.
Yeah, we didn't see that many people out in boats, which was interesting. Um, that didn't seem to be a major pastime in the area.
That's true.
Just like we have marinas, I don't know, they mainly had tourist boats and landing places and but they didn't have mean, that's why this was kind of rare.
Yeah, and our boat, the boats we were in rivers, lakes, canals, not the ocean.
Yeah.
And this is part of the ocean. Okay, now we can move on. There we are. I always like to visit schools when I'm in another country. I like to see what they do, get an idea. We were really fortunate because it was actually a Sunday and in the middle of school vacation. But we were met by the principal. She's the lady on the right, on our right, an 11th grade student who is actually delightful and very bilingual, and several others who did traditional dances for us. The student talked to us, and we learned that the school has 7 teachers. They teach math, Spanish, social studies, and science. They also recently hired a music teacher, so they have a band. The school just goes to 11th grade. Ours goes to 12, but there's 11th. And actually, you can go to the university after 11th grade if they could pass the test. And I was so happy to hear that college in Costa Rica is free. Our state colleges in California and universities did not have tuition when I was growing up, but that's changed, hasn't it?
Yes.
Unfortunately. Oh, these dancers were wonderful, and their costumes were beautiful, twirling around.
And they invited us to join them after
That's
we danced.
that's
We had
right.
fun.
I don't think we were as good as they were.
No, nor did we have the skirts and clothing they did to show
That's
off.
true. We look kind of ragtag compared to them. Mm. But we enjoyed visiting a spice farm. Learned that Costa Rica produces allspice, cinnamon, vanilla, and a lot of other spices. And vanilla, as some of you probably know, is actually an orchid. It's very expensive to grow because it needs to be hand pollinated. It's very labor intensive. And so if you get really good vanilla, it's pretty expensive. We had the opportunity to buy some spices to bring home. And I bought some vanilla and I just finished using my vanilla. I
You
was
know what? I got some allspice. I had no idea that allspice was a separate plant. I thought it was a combination of all spices, of course.
it just tastes like a lot of different spices, but it's a separate plant.
Yeah, I had no
What are you
idea.
doing with it? You haven't used it yet, I bet.
All right.
Cartago was the first capital. Remember when Coronado came and settled? But Cartago became the first capital. It was founded in 1563 and remained the capital until 1823. But earthquakes in the 1800s destroyed most of the old buildings. Pictures is one of the important ruins, which is still pretty, but it hasn't been built back. From March 12th to April 24th, 1948, there was a civil war. It was a short civil war, and the rebels overthrew the authoritarian president. The capital then was moved to San Jose. A constitutional assembly was elected, and they adopted the 1949 Constitution. We were told that that statue depicts a lady of indigenous descent. The indigenous people used to have to live in a separate part of town, but now they don't have to, and they're trying to tell us they're equal, although they're still fighting for their rights. Today, there are 8 recognized indigenous groups in Costa Rica, which make up about 2.4% of the population, about 100,000. Many of the groups have attempted to preserve their languages and customs, but it has been difficult historically. Historically, they were mistreated by the majority, but legal protections were granted under the 1977 Indigenous law. It recognizes the traditional indigenous organizations and property rights. Those rights still are not always attended to, though. A large percentage of indigenous people are still living in poverty. They finally got the right to vote in 1994. One of the main reasons that people visit Cartago is to see the basilica. You see that on the right picture on the right. The Cathedral of Our Lady of the Angels. A basilica is a privileged church designated for special spiritual significance, and it's actually named by the Pope. As the story goes, in 1635, a peasant girl named Juana Pereira found a small stone statue of the Virgin holding the Christ child. It was on a large rock. Twice, Juana took the statue home and placed it in a box, and twice it mysteriously reappeared on the spot where it was discovered. She told a priest about it, and he took the statue home, placed it in a box, and the same thing happened. After that, the cathedral was built in the same place, and the Pope declared it a basilica. The original rock, they say, and a copy of the statue are in a room beneath the cathedral. The original statue is in a gold and jewel-encrusted shrine above the main altar. The little statue is often called Negrita. Recent research is connecting Negrita somehow to slavery. They haven't figured quite out yet, though. Negrita, or the Lady of the Angels, is, since then, the patron saint of Costa Rica. Here we are. People often ask Negrita for special favors, maybe for health, maybe good luck, who knows. Well, Jane and I had to take a turn. I don't remember what I asked for. Did you ask for something, Jane?
I don't remember either.
Anyway, there we are.
Anyway, who knows whether we got it?
I have no idea.
Oh, well.
Okay, we can move on. So every year on August 2nd, millions of Costa Ricans celebrate the special day of their patron saint, the Lady of the Angels. Most of them walk the 14 miles from San Jose, and many of them complete that last few hundred meters of the pilgrimage on their knees. I don't think I could do that. My knees would be killing me. August 2nd is a national holiday today.
They all look like they're younger than we are.
Yeah, but I think even old people on August 2nd. So I don't know how they do it, but they do. It only takes 5 or 6 hours to drive from San Jose to the Caribbean side of Costa Rica. We stopped at a banana plantation before arriving at Tortuguero to learn something about producing bananas. We learned that bananas just produce one bunch of bananas a year. I didn't know that. That bunch weighs about 100 pounds. The blue plastic bags are put on them to protect them from birds and animals and also from pesticides. The bananas used to be carried manually to the processing plant, with each worker carrying several, I don't know how many hundreds of pounds they could
Well,
carry.
they said that each one was typically carrying about 250 pounds worth of bananas.
I missed that part. Thank
Oh
you.
yeah, I caught that one. It's like, how did they do that? Well, here's how they do it now.
Wow. I think that's better. It's the cable that they put them on.
Yeah,
They still have to lift it, pick them and lift them up on that cable, and it moves to the processing plant.
but it's only one bag at a time.
Right. Or one bunch. Yeah.
One bunch at a time, yeah.
Yeah. So we can go to the next. Now, the bananas are taken into this large building where there are mostly women working, and they sort the bananas for quality and wash them. And then the bananas are loaded into a container for export. Workers typically live in small, colorful houses, as depicted here, something like these. And they're usually within walking or cycling range of where they work. Our next stop was Tortuguero, a reserve on the Caribbean side of Costa Rica. It's only accessible by boat, and we rode in like one of those boats that you see. There are some villages, but no roads or cars. We got in the boat, and it takes about an hour and a half to reach the first village. But there's so much to see along the way: birds, beautiful scenery, and if you're lucky, a sloth. Sloths spend almost their entire life in a few trees, nibbling on the leaves. This is a two-toed sloth, and like the other one is a three-toed sloth. But oh, I was just going to say one more thing about the sloth, Jane, and that was that when we got in the boat, the driver told us, he said, "This is a ferry just to get to your hotel, not a sightseeing boat." And almost immediately he pulled over. He saw the sloth, pointed it out, helped us take pictures of it. So he was, he was helping us out after all.
He was lowering our expectations. The wonderful thing about it, one of the wonderful things was our tour guide could recognize the calls of birds. And so when he heard one, he'd be looking to see where it was. And they were so good at spotting
That's
various
right.
sundry birds, iguanas, lizards, whatever have you. So with that assistance, we had a much richer experience of the wildlife.
That's true, because we would have missed a lot of those if it hadn't been for their help.
Yeah. Okay, next. There you go.
Okay, well, let's go back.
Back, back. Oh,
There we are.
I didn't realize that had happened.
Well, we went to the Turtle Conservancy Center. We learned that a biologist from Florida, his name was Archie Carr, had come to the area to study the green sea turtles. He discovered that people there, and it wasn't unusual, they'd been using the turtles for food. They'd been eating them, eating their eggs, and was destroying their habitat. The turtles were becoming endangered. Archie convinced the people that a precious resource was disappearing, and he actually convinced them that if they would pass laws protecting the green sea turtle and others, they would be better off financially. They actually followed his advice, chose ecotourism, and the number of turtles is now increasing, and I don't think they're endangered now, but they're being very careful. Some places they are endangered, I think, but they're doing really well there.
And the museum itself was very interesting. You could go in. This is an example of a panel that it showed a variety of, I mean, there were like 6 or 7 panels showing different species and explaining what they were. And there was this huge I don't know whether that was real or, you know, big turtle right smack in the middle there. So they are large or can
I
be.
think it's a real one.
Yeah, historically preserved.
And the thing that showed where the turtle eggs would be laid in a deep in a nest in the ground and the sand. Oh, and when I was in Costa Rica about 25 years ago and was able to see a nest like that, except it was covered. And all those little turtles, there are 100 baby, we counted them, there are 100 baby turtles hatched. We watched them run to the ocean. I never understand how they instinctively know where that ocean is, but they run to the ocean, get in the water, and try to survive. And in our cases, we didn't let any birds catch them, but in real life, at other times, birds might catch them before they get there. And
And
then,
run the gauntlet of everybody that wants to eat them.
yeah, and so actually only very few survive out of 100, maybe two or three. And they're out in the ocean for almost about 25 to 30 years before the females come back to the same place they were hatched and lay their eggs. So it's kind of amazing that they continue.
It is amazing. And one of the things that's a problem for them today is that our artificial lights near cities have caused issues as to where they should go when they hatch. And they're beginning to pay more attention to the problem of artificial lighting on the habits of animals like turtles.
Yeah,
Okay, here you go.
yeah. There's so much to see in Tortuguero. There's villages, crocodiles that we saw, homes along the water, birds, the towns. We we went on little safaris in the boat every day. We were just there 3 days, and we went on boats to see animals when we could. It was wonderful.
There's a multiplicity of canals that you can go.
Yeah,
The canals go, all these canals are the results of water coming down from the hills and the mountains. And partway along, when they get toward the ocean, they mix with the salt water. So it's an interesting environment.
yeah,
Um,
because it's kind of brackish water with salt and
yeah.
fresh water. Yeah,
Okay, there you go. It's really fun to see the birds out there opening their wings in the sun and just
it
beaming,
is. Yeah,
sunbathing.
the Ankingas do that. Kind of like our cormorants do that too a lot.
Uh-huh.
And there's a capuchin monkeys and the frog, that's like a poison arrow frog that one of our guides found.
Yeah, he was very careful handling it. He went off the boat, got it off a leaf, came and showed it to us, and then very carefully put it back and got his own
That's right.
hand nowhere near it. And the funny thing about the monkeys here, this type of monkey is apparently pretty nasty. They weren't nasty to us, but they some of them can be harassing people in certain cultures, and they
Oh, here
yeah.
they love to get on tables and steal sugar bowls and things like that too.
Yeah, you don't leave your stuff behind because you abandon it, they get it.
Yeah.
And
And
these are
then
some
these
of
are the
the
canals
canals.
that we took our safaris in and going very peaceful and beautiful no matter where you go.
But you can't to reverse them on the ground. That's you have
Yeah,
to go by canal, but it's gorgeous.
it is beautiful. And,
And then
and
of
of
course
course
there's the
there's the
Caribbean,
Caribbean Sea, so we walked along the beach and could see it. It is gorgeous.
very mellow.
Yeah. So Costa Rica has so much to offer. It's beautiful, friendly, safe, And housing and cost of living in general is less than here. You can hike, ride horses like Jane and I did, enjoy the beaches, flowers, waterfall. There are beautiful flowers everywhere.
There's a wide variety. And then here we go.
There's Jane. That was a fun ride. It was such beautiful country we were in. I went right
Was-
through the river. Yeah,
What
several
was
times.
driving me nuts is there were big boulders in under the water, and it's like, is this horse gonna slide on one of these and we're gonna
They
end up in
seemed
the
to know
water?
what they were doing.
But
The horses were good trail horses. They only knew one speed, and that was slow. But I guess and Jane and I are both riders, so I would have liked to go a little faster, but they were also very sure-footed and they knew just what they were doing.
and even when we got out of the river and the stream and onto the ground had stones all over the place too. So it's like, okay, take your time, look where you're going. I don't have a
That's
clue
right.
with that.
And we went up and down hills and everything. So
It was fun.
I loved it. I love riding horses. So
Yeah,
even
we
at
both do.
94, I still like it. So to a certain extent, it reminds the visitor of stepping back into the 50s with one fairly sizable modern city, San Jose, with government and light industrial buildings, offices, and hotels. We only saw one four-lane highway. The remainder of the country is primarily rural with small towns, preserves, didn't mention the pastures, and ecotourism resorts that fit well into the environment. No subdivided developments in sight.
Well, they just at least didn't send us that way. They did mention that there were Americans, gathered in some areas that we didn't visit. So who knows what they'd done?
Yeah, some Americans just go up and lie on the beach for a couple of weeks. But many people from the United States actually retire in Costa Rica. There's universal health care for citizens and legal residents. So preventive care is important, making it less costly. It's considered one of the best healthcare systems in the world. Life expectancy is 81.3 years, which is actually about 2 or 3 years higher than the United States. People enjoy the rich diversity of plants and animals and the beauty throughout the country.
And
So,
we highly recommend you visit.
yeah, if you haven't already, it's a good place to go and see and don't just lie on the beaches. Look around the country. There's so much to see. I love the animals, I think, as much as anything.
So, uh, thank you for coming along on our trip. We had a absolutely wonderful time. The most problem we had was the connection between San Francisco and there. We sat in the San Francisco airport for 7 hours waiting to leave at 5 minutes after midnight. But that was okay. So we were there for actually 15 days. There was one day going and coming, but it gave us enough time to get the Pacific side, the Central Valley and the mountains, and then the Caribbean side. So we got a good sampling. And if you get to go, I think it's really valuable to go with a group like Overseas Adventures because we learned so much. They know the culture, they're from it, they're good photographers. He would set up his camera so we could put our cameras behind his and or he'd use his um sight, his not binoculars, what do you call it? Telescope. He'd use his telescope to set up the picture and then he'd take a picture with our camera through that. And then he made a number of his pictures available to us as well. So it was a wonderful experience. And we learned a lot from our guide about the history. politically, otherwise. And you don't get that unless you read a lot before you go. I mean, there's a lot of information available. But that is the value of going with a group. They don't have more than 16 people in each group they go. You're not dealing with a great big bus with 30 people in it. You're dealing with a van, a small bus with 16. You get to know them along route. You eat together with them. They're from all over the place. Many of them have traveled all over the place as well. There were individuals who were single. There were husbands who were traveling by themselves and wives traveling by themselves. I mean, you had a wide variety of backgrounds, um, and that made it all the more interesting. So we had a good
I
time
can,
together.
oh, sorry, can I add just one thing? That all the trips that I've been on with OAT, I found that the people who go with them are usually people who are interested in the culture and the people and the history. And so I have found that the people, and of course, there are usually a lot of teachers or ex-retired teachers, but they're people who enjoy many of the same things.
And you're free to ask whatever questions you want. But Marilyn and I played bridge, and we actually found a couple that played bridge. So whenever we had time waiting for something like a meal or whatever, we'd get out the cards. He had been a principal in Saudi Arabia, I think it was, at a
Yeah,
American
various
school there.
places, but Saudi Arabia was one. Yeah.
Yeah. So, so just interesting people with interesting backgrounds. It was a lot of fun. Do you have any questions? Feel free. I have not looked at the chat. I perhaps should look at the chat. Yes, no? Where's the chat? We didn't get one single question. Doggone.
They must know everything.
Well, we hope you enjoyed it. And, one of the things about maintaining mental health and capacity as you age is to keep learning new things, and going out on adventures is part of that stimulating and learning process. And K's, yeah,
Shall I just speak?
yeah, just go for it.
Okay. Well, I was wondering where you flew into. Was that on the Pacific coast, and did you fly home from the East Coast, or did you travel back?
Santa Rosa.
We chose from San Jose.
I mean Santa. I'm
Both
sorry,
ways.
San Jose. Yeah.
To you flew in and out of the same airport then in Costa Rica.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
San Jose, not Santa Rosa.
Yeah.
Kay says, do you think that the reason there are so many social services is because there's no army? Would be
Well,
interesting to explore the relationship.
That was fascinating. I've never heard of a country that didn't have anything.
yeah, it's possible that has something to do with it. And also, I think they just really believe that everybody needs health care. And it's really it's an amazing idea when you think that way you can prevent illnesses before they get really bad. So it probably saves money.
Definitely.
And they're not living in a polluted environment. They don't have all the air quality issues. They don't have, I mean, the manufacturing is minor league stuff. It's only in San Jose. Um, you just have an environment that's healthy. And the people seem to be very healthy. The villages are little, they've got these little one-way streets. Well, they're not, two-way streets, but they're little, narrow. And and so you just have a healthier lifestyle overall, and a great deal of peace and quiet. So that's why it's so attractive for them.
And
They're trying to
without
preserve it. Pardon me?
I was going to say, without an army, I wonder what would happen if they were attacked by somebody. I suppose we would help them.
Who knows? We're not in the helping business anymore.
That's true.
Their neighbors might. I but I don't think the problems that I've never heard of the problems majorly in Panama or Guatemala that have bled into Costa Rica. Maybe it doesn't have enough diamonds and gold and silver and heavy metals
Maybe so.
that other people want. But they built up a very lucrative um, ecotourism business. Their economy used to be built around bananas, pineapples, and things like that. And the decision to build it around ecotourism has, I think, made all the difference because it's the second largest source of wealth in the country. So it worked for them very, very well. And we influenced that because our scientists went down and encouraged that change, and it worked. And as a result, they may have one of the most peaceful places in the world. Lucky guys. But it's
Somebody asked about processed food, and I think that's probably true that most of their food is fresh or like grown there.
yeah.
Don't you think so, Jane?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, they grow their own food. They have um I think one of the pictures showed some when you go up on the green pasture area on Monteverde and across. I mean, going from the Pacific, you're going up a mountain and then down to the Central Valley and then over hills again to get to the Caribbean. Um, and they do have beef that they raise. We didn't see much of that in the meals.
There are sheep also.
Yeah, they're also sheep. But it's not big industrial production. It's small farms with a few cattle. And it's just a whole different culture. That's why it's like going back, I said going back to the 1950s. It's really going back to the village concept, um, mostly in the country. And people take care of each other. Um, and it's a lovely culture that way. Music, good times. I'm sure they've had troubles, but they've managed to get through it. Any other questions or thoughts?
What was the music like?
Music?
What is the music like? Um, Good question. We heard some people with guitars and things like that in the various resorts, but there wasn't a huge focus on music. Just kind of interesting.
Mhm. Thank you.
Yeah, the dance.
Any
Mhm.
other questions? Okay, I want to let you know that next week we're going to have Patrick Cleary talk about the Humboldt County media landscape. He is the founder, I think, of Lost Coast paper, well, online. And he's not actively involved, but he's still head of the board. So he's going to talk about what's going on and what's happening with our various papers and various channels and so forth, as well as Lost Coast Outpost. Pardon me?
Because we're interested in a posting truck.
Yeah,
Period.
turn this thing off.
Okay, thank you. You turned that off. Anyway, we hope you'll come back next week because Patrick has a lot, he knows a lot about what's going on with the media locally, and he'll be sharing that with us. So we look forward to seeing you soon. And we hope you all have fun traveling because Marilyn and I certainly did. And age was not a barrier. We were worried about being older, that we slow people down. And the others in the troop, who were all certainly mostly 70s, but a few 80s, basically said, "No, you're an inspiration. There's Marilyn trooping around, getting on horses. We're going everywhere." We didn't do the skywalk. I mean the swinging things you go from tree to tree. We didn't do that. She'd done it before, and I was not inspired. So it's like, you go too fast. You're going through the tops of trees and you're going so fast you don't have time to look at anything. So it's like, why bother? But we had a wonderful time together. So grab a good friend if you're all on your own and go do it. It's a great adventure. So thank you for coming, and I think we're done, right? Yeah.
Thank you all very much. That was
What's that?
inspiring. Thank you very much. That was inspiring and beautiful.
Yeah, well, do it sometime. I mean, we live in a gorgeous place ourselves.
Mhm.
We can't we live in the equivalent of a national park.
Yes.
And so, but nonetheless, it's inspiring and fascinating to do that thing. The only crummy part is getting from here to there and back. Just Marilyn brought along a tiny little copy of Rumikub. I mean, we actually
It worked.
it worked. It worked.
Sure.
We were kind of amazed.
And we played cribbage.
Yeah, we did all kinds of stuff. I don't think we bought bridge cards down there, but the couple that we met,
Yes, we did. We came back. I came back with the double deck.
I came back with a double deck as well. So we have copies, reminders, which we enjoy playing. So, all right, we're done.